Live from the Export Beer Garden Studios, this is the Agenda Podcast for the 9th of March.
The Agenda, an alternative commentary collective podcast.
G'day there, welcome along to the Agenda Podcast. Myself, G Lane, James McOnie, and we've got a special guest, James.
Oh, I know, I'm so excited to see this. And you know what? He might even sing us Angels if we ask him nicely. It's Manaia Stewart.
Oh, it's far too early in the morning for Angels, but thanks for having me, fellas. Keen listeners to this podcast and the ACC audience as a whole will know that the ACC has a strict no-fault stand-down policy.
Yeah.
I know what I did a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
There were accusations of commentary-enhancing drugs, or CEDs, as they call them.
Yeah.
I can't confirm or deny those, but I've served my suspension and I'm back.
Yeah, everyone, you know, you've come back, you've served your time.
Yep.
At SENZ for your punishments. You were sent to the gulags.
Can I just talk about how long this move has been in the pipeline? Like, I talked to G Lane a fair bit about stuff like, do you want the old Crow Goes Wild desk and all these kinds of things.
But I have to go to your house to see that.
You do. But the thing is, like, the talk of getting Manaia back to the ACC, I feel, has been around for... When did you leave Manaia?
2021.
When was he suspended?
So around about...
The suspension was enacted?
Late 2021, it's been swirling around. So welcome back.
I've been hearing them too. I've been hearing them too, but, signed on the dotted line.
Good things take time. You know, I missed a couple of the draft windows.
Yep.
That's my fault.
The transfer windows. There were massive salary cap issues going on at the ACC.
Yeah, that was another big issue. Obviously, you got the likes of James McOnie sucking all of the revenue out of the salary cap. So
Di Henwood, Ben Hurley, Lee Hart, all under the sombrero.
Yeah, totally. So, we had to do a bit of a jiggery pokery kind of Manchester City styles.
Yeah, I put $20 into a pokie machine in the corner of the Export Beer Garden studio here. And
shit, that's a good idea. We should have a pokie machine in here. We should definitely have a pokie machine.
We need other revenue streams, income streams. So I don't know. We've got a big window. We could go full like Amsterdam red light. There's a massive window there.
I'm not sure we'll make that much money.
I
don't know. Item number 1 on the agenda this week, and it's rugby. And Ardie Savea has just copped his 1-week ban for doing what I would call a fairly standard gesture on a rugby field. Not standard gesture. I'm just going to say I have been threatened with death verbally and physically on a rugby field hundreds of times in my times in the Waikato.
Yeah.
Far worse than that.
Yeah. You get told that you're pretty much they want to kill you.
Yeah, I've got 12 and I'm going to kill him. And you're like, whatever. But you don't know one takes it seriously.
I'm going to take his head off.
Yeah.
And the weird part to me is that what he actually does out at a rugby field, smashing people, driving them into the dirt, like literally trying to take their head off, is so much worse and more violent than indicating that you're going to do that. Also, the other part of this that people have mentioned is the haka part of it. People do it in the haka. There was a bit of a backlash there as well.
But they still do it.
But they still do it. A week, too much, McOnie? Too little?
Has he been banned for a week?
He's got a week.
Oh, come on.
And they're saying it's nothing to do with that, but it is. But James McOnie, are you aware, does Ardie Savea, and you can say allegedly or not, just does he carry a knife on the field with him?
Oh, right. Is this what you're... Well,
look, because he's threatening to throw his throat. Has he got a knife on him?
It's a rhetorical question, so you could get the talking stick back, G Lane. But the thing about it is there's actually more to be discussed here. Remember fucking Eben Etzebeth grabbing Alan Alator or Michael. Anyway, playing for the Wallabies and just pretty much just yelling in his face and going completely nuts. To me, that's more aggressive than someone giving an old throat slit, haka gesture, kapa pongo as they leave the field. I mean, like, that's the issue for me is like, let's rate all these things, because what Etzebeth did was almost like Crazy Town,
Well, it was Crazy Eyes for sure.
Crazy Eyes?
Definitely.
Crazy Town.
What's more offensive to you? Is it just, I'm going to go through some hand gestures, okay, and you guys tell me if you're offended on the rugby field, if I did this to you? Little finger, like you've got a small penis.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's highly offensive.
Yeah.
Look, that's going to hurt me, but...
What if I did this?
Double.
I think that's a week on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would be offended with that?
Well,
if you all come to
no, not really. I'm not offended by that.
What's the most offensive thing that's happened to you on a sports field then, Manaia? What's the most inappropriate thing? You know, what's the thing where you thought?
I mean, the thing that hurt my feelings the most is not being marked out on the wing. That was definitely offensive.
So they just left you open?
They were just like, this guy's probably not going to score today, so we'll just leave him out there.
Oh, you can show him the sideline all day.
I was a big fan. I mean, there was a fight that so Waimate and Temuka were the two mongrel teams of South Canterbury, and our coach gave us a G up at halftime. They're saying, everyone in Temuka, they're claiming that they're more mongrel than us. Well, we're more mongrel than them, so go out there and start something. No, the fight didn't start until we were shaking hands after the rugby game.
Oh.
And then we got sat down and dressed down for being too mongrel, and that just really confused me. And I think that was probably the most hurt my feelings of being.
Non-stop fact jokes, really. What like as a first five, as a full of figured first five, I used to model myself. I thought I was a bit of an Olsen Filipina, a little bit of standoff with a bit of a bump off going. But then when people sort of like said, wait, hold on a second, you're a bit of a fat bastard to be playing first five, I'd be like, oh, damn it, he's got me. Yeah. And then I spent the rest of the game trying to prove that I was a better player than I was, which is always quite difficult when you should just be focusing on just passing the ball or fucking... Well, I used to kick a lot of 50-22s, no reward, but that was the game back in the day. Fucking kick it to the corner. But the thing is that I remember one guy did call me a fat bastard. He was actually quite a good player, Simon Rackham from Grammar. His brother, I think, played for the Blues, Cameron Rackham. Anyway, years later, I saw him at touch, and he was a fat bastard, fatter than me. And so I was quite excited. And then I saw Craig Innocent, he had ballooned out. I went, everybody's come to the party now. Huh? Everybody's fat now. How are you enjoying that? So, yeah, I remember dining out on a few people who'd sort of gone to see G Lane.
Oh, right. Yeah. I probably the most offensive thing on the field, far more offensive than a throat slit gesture, was Hamilton Club cricket as a 17-year-old. After the summer holidays, I'd grown what can only be described as a very ratty goatee. You're trying to describe it a facial hair so you can buy piss over summer. And I was that friend who had a bit of hair on his face.
And pubes.
I had pubes and hair on my face and playing club cricket for our school. And it was, I think it was university we were playing. And I came into bat and I got abused for about 10 overs, being called a hairy tail-end rapist. So they kind of jumped for a few conclusions there. And goes, look at this hairy tail-end little rapist. And I was like, oh, geez, that's a bit rough. It's a bit rough. I've got a Duncan Fearnley rapier, but that doesn't mean you can call me a rapist.
Who called you that?
The wicketkeeper.
Oh, my goodness.
Did he get a week for it?
He didn't get a week for it. I got out too, trying to prove I wasn't.
What school was it? What school was he at?
No, there wasn't school. We played club.
Oh,
we played club.
Oh,
so
club,
our school played in the senior club.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You had to, didn't you?
Yeah.
You were exposed to men.
Mind you, we used to fucking torment those old bastards who were playing club cricket because we were like 16, 17, forced to play cricket. Basically, we had to play cricket for the school on weekends. And here were these fucking losers who would play 3-day cricket for their club. They were in their kind of mid-30s, late 30s. Yeah. And we used to get into them and go, look at you out here. They'd be batting and we'd go, look at you out here. Look, running away from your family. Obviously, you've got family issues, hate your kids, your wife hates you. You spend all your time playing cricket. You just want, and we used to get really stuck in there, fuck you little shit. And we're like, go on, mate. Hey, don't take it out on us, mate. We have to be here. You don't have to be here, but you've chosen to be here. Obviously, you hate your family, your kids. That's why you spend so much time here. And they'll be like, you little motherfuckers.
Sounds like you gave as good as you got.
Yeah, I was about to say, G Lane, talk about cutting someone right to the core, like pretty much.
We knew it, cut them.
Exposing every sort of like fear and insecurity they've got, and that's the one, isn't it? Really?
Oh yeah.
Why are you playing 3-day cricket, you loser? You're never going to amount to anything in this sport. You can't call this a hobby. You get out after about 23 painful balls for 7. And now you're standing in the field all day because you can't bowl because you're bad back.
And we won the division.
Just basically, what are you doing here?
We won the division as well, so it's just the most hated team. Like we used to get so many bounces and bumpers, and hence the tail-end rapist chat as well.
So Ardie, I think that's one that you got to let go through to the keeper. I think there's way worse shit. I would rather someone give me a throat slit gesture than break my nose with a forearm to the face.
Yeah,
I'd take that. Any day of the week, I'll probably take that over getting, lifted above the horizontal and going, or even having to go up for a high ball and someone tips you up while you're mid-air.
Yeah.
Not that I'd be mid-air, but you know what I mean? Like there's so many other things in rugby that I'd much rather I'd much rather have Ardie give me some attention with a bit of a throat slit gesture.
Plus, also the storylines. Like Super Rugby is always crying out for people to, be able to watch for something other than just the footy. Well, have him in the game. They're playing the Blues this weekend, and so wouldn't you rather have him out on the field rather than him sitting in the bleachers?
Yeah,
because he got a bit excited, which is what you want from your captain.
And that's also looking at like the game of cricket. Remember who was it that said break his arm? Was that the Australian captain said break his arm, break his fucking arm? When I think it was Brett Lee, or was it one of the Aussie bowlers? Remember in the Ashes?
I remember Razzie Erasmus.
He got caught on the hot mic in the Ashes saying break his fucking arm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that was Jimmy Anderson.
Yeah. But that, in the cricket field, a fast bowler can break a fucking arm.
So it was Michael Clark.
Yeah, he can break arms and he can kill you. But it's but that's fine. You're allowed to sledge in cricket and bowl a cricket ball at 150 kilometre an hour at someone's head. But in a rugby game, you do a bit of it.
Yeah, not a great example, but Razzie Erasmus, when we're talking about suspensions, I remember watching a video of him imploring his team to fuck the opponents up. You must fuck them up. You must fuck them up. And that's what, but then for some reason, because you see it on the field, he has to cop a week. I don't understand it.
Eben got the message about that. But the rest of them, the thing about it is, like, you guys might have played in the forwards. I had a couple of games in the forwards, and you sort of forget how much you get kicked in the shins, your hand gets stood on, all these things, your face gets stood on as well.
Testicles get grabbed constantly.
Exactly. You get hopawadied.
Yeah.
All these things are worse than someone giving you the throat slit gesture.
Absolutely.
Right? You take one of those away.
Absolutely. So anyway, Super Rugby, good start from our beloved chefs. Chiefs Mana. What a 7-second try to Poi Hippie against Moana Pacifica. That was, hadn't even started the commentary and he'd already scored a try.
Yeah, the Chiefs mana is just overflowing. It's kind of got to the point where people are just going, oh God, can we just calm down? There's too much mana.
Too much mana?
There's too much. Can there be too much mana? A little bit, because the fans get carried away, and now we've beaten the Crusaders, Moana Pacifica. We have to play the Landers this weekend, I believe.
Who aren't in great nick.
No.
And
you need to put more than 60 on them to really solidify your place at the top of the New Zealand teams.
It's a tricky one, because I feel the Chiefs have depth, but then there was a part in that Moana Pacifica game where the wheels kind of came off, didn't they, a little bit?
Yeah, in the
second half. And it's like, okay, what's going on with... okay, so the first 15 definitely is the first 15.
Yeah, they emptied the bench, didn't they? And it seemed a little bit vulnerable, but Blues had a bit of a hiccup, which was unusual, unexpected.
Yeah, I saw bits and pieces of that Blues game, but Manaia, I don't know if you caught it. It was hot as hell. Sonny Bill was in a singlet on the sideline, and poor old Sean Maloney, great man, friend of the ACC, he was there beside him, just sort of like shrinking into his shirt, going, "Oh, this is a good look, mate. Thanks for that."
It's a power move from Sonny Bill, and only Sonny Bill could do something like that. But when he's in the stands, he's in the commentary position. You're a commentator, G Lane. Wouldn't you kind of try and pull him into rank, or is Sonny Bill just that far out ahead of the...
It's Sonny Bill. I'm not going to tell him to put his shirt on. But you're saying...
Would you tell him to have it off?
But stories outside the game. What a great story for, those kind of latent female fans who aren't really interested in rugby. Get to see a bit of Sonny Bill. I remember when his shirt got ripped off him in that World Cup. Can you remember that?
Forget.
And even Jeremy Wells said his partner came stumbling into the room saying, "Jesus Christ, what is that?" And she was hooked on All Blacks rugby from then on.
You want to talk about hot under the collar?
Yeah, absolutely. But that was a BDE move, Mitch. You don't get your kid off like that, and especially with all the commentators are usually former players who have probably blown out and given up on life. And then you got Sexy Bill, who's looking as sexy as ever.
It's a massive. There's been a massive swing from players blowing out when they retire to players getting more shredded when they retire.
Yeah.
Can I also show you? Like, it's always weird seeing who the shredded ones are. Quite often, it's a prop.
Yeah.
And it's the wingers who go the other way. There was a video of, we'll put this on the feed, but it's Tom Robinson.
Tom Robinson. I love him.
Promoting his Zinc or Swim sun care.
I love it. I love
he's
how
got an unbelievable rig, though.
I love it how
he's got gutters.
Leaning into the fact he's dangerously pale and ginger and he needs sunscreen. That is the way to do it. That's the way to market yourself as a translucent ginge.
A tremendous product endorsement.
Yeah, great rig. He's like, I use zinc.
Zinc or swim.
Zinc or swim.
I do not get sunburnt, by the way. I am shredded out of my mind.
Yeah.
So get some of the zinc, put it on you, and get the gutters.
So this week, so the ones that the ACC will be commentating is the Chiefs versus Landers at 7 p.m. on Friday night, and the Hurricanes versus the Blues, which is 7 p.m. Saturday night as well on iHeartRadio and Sky Sport 9. You can see you almost sliding off your seat, Manaia Stewart. The Warriors, gutsy 20-12 win to start the season. Everyone's saying it's the Warriors' year. And in total, 12 people were arrested for illegally entering the field of play. All 12 of them fully clothed.
Very disappointing. And I know that you're very hot on this, G Lane. It doesn't technically count as a streak. No. I think the phones are ruining the streak. Everybody wants to film themselves. That's the glory of getting on there.
I'm happy, just to interrupt, I'm happy to accommodate the phone if you're nude.
Yes.
Okay? I'm just going to say that out loud.
I guess the idea of being nude was how you got everyone's eyeballs on you at the game, but I think these people don't even give a shit whether the crowd's watching them or not.
No.
They just want to go viral on TikTok, ramrod a dairy after the game and blow up, sign some endorsement deals.
Well, what's the punishment for a streak?
Doesn't seem to be high enough, does it?
What is it?
I think they get a trespass order from the ground and maybe a little bit of a fine, but that's about
But
it.
they get some serious fame. They get kudos from their mates.
Some serious clout.
Massive clout. And also, it feels like it's a storyline that obviously starts on their Snapchat story earlier in the day.
Absolutely.
Like, it's building up to that point. Like, is he going to get there? And then, if generally you've got to have a bit of athleticism. The guy who hurdled, I think we saw it on the ACC, who hurdled the signage, straight away you went, okay, he's a bit of a gazelle. He's going to be tough to bring down. It was a good 80-metre run. If it gets a bit serious, like I remember the big unit, he was fully nude, but he had footy boots on in Origin.
Yes, the big, and he was slippery as. He was covered in olive oil.
But he ran on, I thought, at a really crucial part of the game, and that's kind of a bit shit. You've really got to pick your moment. You don't want a streaker to influence the outcome of a game. Like in the middle of the Johnny Wilkins, actually I wouldn't have minded that, but I know that then Australia would have won. No, I'd take... Do you take Johnny's dropping?
Yeah, I take Johnny's.
Okay.
We wouldn't have heard the end of it.
But, if I think you're right, G Lane, nudity is probably the way to go. Then everybody will give you the round of applause that you deserve. But there's so many pitch invaders, you almost need to say, okay, next 5 minutes, pitch invaders, go for it. And it's like the bloody bull rush.
Well, that's the streaking lanes that Jeremy Wells is trying to put forward. Is the fact that there is an area outside of the ground where you're actually just allowed to run around if you want. And it doesn't interfere with the game.
No, it doesn't
affect the game.
Streaking lanes, yes.
It doesn't affect your view. But we even thought potentially to get it out of people's systems, maybe we open up Eden Park one Friday afternoon. We open up Eden Park and we invite, if you want to come and streak in the nude, risk-free, we'll you get 5 minutes to a couple of laps of Eden Park in the nude.
Chuck it on your TikTok.
Yeah, chuck it on your TikTok, have an export, do all that kind of stuff, and be done with it. But you're right, James. I agree with that. You got to pick your moment.
Pick your moment with the streak.
Injuries.
The fact that all these sports can't fill a stadium, I don't think they've got any excuse. Like in the end, it's like the streakers are probably going to be 20% of your tickets now. Because
they're the only people
who are buying tickets, So if you want to lose 20% of your income, because I'd say 20% of those people are potential streakers or pitch invaders.
Yeah,
100%. I think a deterrent for it though, because I saw that some of the, what these guys want is they want to run out there, plant a dirty right foot step on the red badge security guard, a dirty left foot goosey or something on them.
A Benji jump step.
A Benji jump step, screaming as they leap into the air. What they should do is allow the players to tackle them, because you can't have these red badge guys out there. They're out there getting injured by this.
Wow.
Here's a man who's fully, as a professional athlete, he's trained how to do this. Get Ardie Savea out there slitting their throats.
Two of the greats, Manaia. I don't know if you remember the Andrew Simons shoulder charge.
Yes.
And he's tackled with streakers before. So he's always, when he sees a streaker, he's ready to roll. He used to train with the Broncos, I think, in the off-season, so RIP. And then Ma'anonu in New Plymouth decided to take a streaker down. And, he monstered him. But also it was like the contortion of bodies and stuff, it was like a massive Kama Sutra video with Ma just planting himself into the streaker, into the midriff.
Ruben Wiki got a bloke a beauty for the Warriors when he was a trainer a couple of years ago. Yeah,
I was at that game, and it's at the Forsyth Bar, and the streaker took off, and he Ruben tackled him, took him down. He was the trainer, so it was one of those preseason Warriors games. Then he left him to the red badge, and he got away again. But by the time he got to the security fencing, the red badge people got him, and it was like a cheese grater on his downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like those.
Yeah.
You know what,
I know
what it's
exactly
like.
what you're
Yeah,
talking
like
about.
those security gate.
Those sticky little toys you used to throw at the wall, and then they flop down the side of the wall.
Exactly. And you could see it. It was like,
Basketball. So the Breakers, out of nowhere, the Kings have come back to tie the series 1-1 at Spakarina on Sunday. I, for one, was not expecting that. I was not expecting the fortress of the Spakarina.
No.
And in the end, it was actually a relatively comfortable win for the Kings, 81-74. But it's 1-1 going into Friday's match. Have they got it in them? What happened? What happened at Spakarina?
I think you'd think that they'd look at this as one that got away on them, having stolen the first one. I guess teams are expected to win at home. They went over there and robbed the Kings in Sydney, then came back here. This whole the whole league's been a little bit sort of up and down. The Kings were out of the league for a few years. They had some sort of salary cap scenarios, much like the ACC has had here as well. Back in the league, then what the Breakers have been able to do to go from cellar dwellers, they were last season, to even make the final is amazing. New Zealand's jumped on the bandwagon. Are Kiwis going to jump back off the bandwagon if the Breakers don't win this, do you think?
Yeah, I don't know.
what I like about the Breakers team, I didn't actually see enough of Sunday's game, and I'm sure you guys saw more, but the games that I've watched, it feels like the old guys, Abercrombie and Lowe and the boys and Fitch, naked outside a store. The old guys have sort of got the young guys, and they go, you do this one, mate, you do that one, mate. And so they're just providing the steadiness of any classic social basketball team where, hey, I'm the experienced pro, I don't need to prove anything. You know, I've won several titles with this team. And meanwhile, the young bucks just flying around. And we've got this Aussie there, McDowell White, running the show. And look, he's kind of that guy who, did he roll a man bun a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, an electric man bun. He was like, you know, you don't get many Aussies coming over here making that kind of impact in our teams, in our basketball team. And it's like, good on you, McDowell White. For some reason, we've got you. And he's impressive. So there's other guys as well. Manaia, can you tell us who you're liking in this team?
Jarrell Brantley.
Yes.
You want to talk about impressive hairdos? He's got dreadlocks braided into some sort of plait down the middle of his hair. Derek Pardon has been playing well. As you mentioned, Barry Brown Jr. Phenomenal name. It sounds like the godfather. Sounds like the godfather of soul.
He's born to go to the NBA.
Absolutely. Like he might play in a Motown funk band or something like that. He just comes off the bench and absolutely guns. Will McDowell White, back to him, I think he's one of the most underrated players for the Breakers, just to watch. He goes out there, he's an unassuming, like in-shape guy with quite hairy shoulders, and he just throws no-look passes the entire game. He just stands at the top of the key. He's not looking. He throws a pass, you're like, that's going out of bounds. No, it's gone straight to Tom Abercrombie in the corner, who's pumping and faking and going in and dunking it. But you're so right that the old heads on that team, and they were like, hey, I watched you dunk from the free throw line at practice, mate. You get out there and you do all this. Like, and you couldn't be happier for them.
Exactly. Tom's almost there going, I'm just here to make sure nobody fucks this up because I know how to win the title. I just don't have the legs anymore to do it. So can we just follow this thing? And that guy Modi is one of the greatest humans in New Zealand sport. Yeah. I actually do want us to have, instead of a New Zealander of the year, to have a non-Zealander of the year where you go best import, and Modi has got to be near the top because he's just a good bastard. Yeah. He was my coach for that celebrity Breakers game where I got 0 points, 1 rebound. But the thing is, like...
turnovers?
Yeah, one turnover.
One turnover.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Assist.
No assist.
oh no, one steal. Yeah.
But negative assist to turnover ratio.
Well, I pulled my hammy in the first play of the game.
It sounds familiar with you because
Yeah, yeah.
I remember
I
you
did, I
played
pulled-
cricket. You
yeah.
pulled your calf.
You are the Tom Trebojevic of social sport.
Which is it's terrible. I'm Trebojeviching all over the place. But anyway, Modi was the coach, and he actually took my advice. He goes, "You're the coach now," and I said, "You got to put Benny on because she's famous, and everybody came to see Benny." So he goes, "Okay, Benny, you're on." And the good thing is who's the old coach, the Breakers coach?
Dan Shamir?
Yes, he was the other coach, and when he saw Benny, he thought, "Oh, I can't have frickin' Carlos Spencer marking Benny or something like that." It was like he put Zoe Sadowski-Sinnott on, so it was like a little fair fight, of these two famous, probably the two most famous people there.
How'd they go?
On a global scale? Both pretty good actually, but I thought Benny slightly better at basketball than Zoe.
Controversial.
Interesting.
Hey, so next game is Friday night. If they can fart another win in Sydney, then the Breakers could be going for a home court title on Sunday night at 6 o'clock. I got my tickets.
You do?
I do. So I'm
Who
coming.
are you taking, G Lane?
My 3 children and 8 other kids. Okay, so
wow.
if you see me at Spark Arena with 8 kids plus my own 3.
With that glazed over look.
With a glaze overlook, I'll be deep in the beers because the only way I can handle it is just pounding beers.
Yeah.
And they'll all have, at least, because if you go to a Breakers game, they know what they're doing, those Breakers, people organising that, because they sell those containers of lollies. Have you been seen there?
Oh, so you chuck them on the ferry?
Yeah, we jump on the fares, we go down there, I spend at least $120 on lollies. And they get the little lolly jar, a massive bucket of Coke. They spend most of their time pissing that out during the game. But they provide such good entertainment. They don't annoy me for 2.5 hours because they're smashing Coke, lollies, and watching the basketball.
I can imagine the admin of getting 11 children into the seats is going to be
It's a nightmare.
absolutely.
It's a total nightmare.
But if you do see G Lane and you've had a skinful, you get a belly full of piss and you're at the Breakers, you're very excited, and he looks like he doesn't want to talk to you. That's just what he looks like. So make sure that you go and say good day to him. The more children he's holding on to, the more snacks he's got in his hands.
Yep.
He's going to look like he doesn't want to talk to you. That's just what G Lane looks like. He would love to get a photo with you.
Help G Lane. Carry some fucking hot dogs.
Grab a kid.
Do something. Help him. Yeah.
Well, like the last time I was there, someone just yelled, "You know the rules," as I came back with a beer, and I had to buff my beer in front of all the kids, and they're like, "What are you doing, Daddy?" I was, "Oh, it was just a bit warm. I just had to get rid of it." Role modelling. Role
On
modelling.
TV, it's
had
like,
to get rid of it. It's done, son.
You got any more on the basketball before we move to IndyCar?
No, let's move.
IndyCar Scott Dixon cruises to a podium finish after causing a 6-car pile-up that caught out fellow Kiwi Scotty Give It Some Jandal McLaughlin.
I don't know the first thing about IndyCar. I don't know the second, third, or 10th thing about IndyCar. But the causing of a crash and then still rolling onto the podium, I would have thought that would have been a bit of a... If you start it, wouldn't you have to then... Sorry, mate, you actually caused all of these guys to fail.
Did he actually cause it? Did he get charged with causing it?
Well, he did, but then for whatever reason, he gets to carry on. I don't understand how it works.
That's motor racing. You've just kind of described every controversial moment, like Schumacher running someone off, or Damon Hill. There's all these historical things when somebody's challenging for the title and the guy knows that if the other guy has a DNF, the title's his.
Yeah.
You just watch it. It's pretty much dodgems from there on in. It's derby, what do you call it, demolition derby. And the commentators kind of have to go, "Oh, it's unfortunate. Oh, my goodness, Damon Hill." And it's like, you German prick. What they want to say is, like, they'll never say it. They have to sort of be, "I'm being professional right now, but that bastard just ran off," and that's all it is. It's pretty much Northwestern Motorway, too fast, too furious, tucking any drift.
And there's 3 Kiwis in the IndyCar this year: Scott Dixon, Scott McLaughlin, and one other. I can't remember the girl's name at the moment. He is...
Is the jizz going?
No, it's not the jizz. It's
They should get the jizz.
It's Marcus Armstrong.
Marcus Armstrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
that's
yes.
it.
Okay.
So he's an IndyCar. That's pretty good.
Back to the pile-up thing. If they're going to allow that kind of thing, then why not allow oil slips, Mario Kart style?
You're allowed to, James Bond, you can fire it out the back of your
You can
car.
fire it out the back.
Those little stars that sort of like the
ninja
punch of
stars.
Ninja stars, yeah. They
the-
always land up.
The strips that they put out on the motorway when someone's just ram-raided a dairy. All that kind of thing. Wouldn't you watch that league?
The Ram Raid League, that's quite a good one. That'd be quite good. So the circuit is like 7 dairies around Auckland. You got to get through the circuits. You don't have to ram raid them. You just got to go past them and maybe like.
Oh, I feel like you should have to ram raid them, and
yeah.
you've got a list of contraband that you need to make out with before you get back to the starting line.
I don't know if they encourage ram raiding Manaia, but
no, this is in a controlled environment,
okay,
like you
right.
mentioned with the streaker lane.
Oh,
We're
you
giving them an
set it up at
environment.
Waikaraka Park.
Exactly,
right.
in a safe
But
environment.
maybe on actual rams, like
they have
from
to
New
ride
Zealand.
rams.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to ride rams and then ram dairies
Yeah.
with the rams.
Yeah.
Oh,
Think about it.
that's brilliant. So this week, white on of the week. This week, what gave you a white on in the sporting world this week, Manaia Stewart?
I mean, we kind of glossed over it a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But the Warriors won, thus setting in motion things that can't be stopped. It is, in fact, our year. They say it every year,
Yep.
but this is the most recent time they've said it, so it's got to be true. The depth for me, but the first try, Ed Cossie, wasn't even supposed to be in the team. The Cossie Club, the Cossie Corner, it's all a good omen. And so for me, it's got to be the Warriors winning.
Well, how good is Chance Nickel Clockstad? With the Clockstad, it's our HOUR year because, honestly, man, like having him back, just like the timing of the Clockstad, everything about him, the wind-up, he's the hands, like everything that Clockstad brings. I was just thinking when we lost Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and then Reece Walsh came and we got this amazing coke snorting fashion model with the dreamboat eyes, and then when he left almost immediately I was like, oh well, that frickin' sucks. But then getting Chance back, you must be excited, Manaia.
A golden complexion as well.
Oh, he's wonderful. It's just wonderful to watch. And Tamati Martin, who I reckon is the real deal in the halves, and we've never had the pairing where they complement each other. There's a dovetail there. It's and the try-saving tackle from Tamati Martin.
Tremendous.
Who was that? Was that on Kalen Ponga?
I believe
maybe even someone bigger.
So. I think it was one of their centres that was trying to go in over the corner. He managed to punch the ball out. That kind of desperation. And the most exciting thing about the Warriors win for me is that this week they've named the exact same team again.
Yeah.
That is confidence that the Warriors have not been able to have in themselves for a few years.
Well, we used to be kind of like a little, remember centre roulette, It was like Rocco Berry, and then, it's Montoya,
this week.
and then Pompey, and then...
And then we'll swap the wings and the centres around for a week, and then we'll swap them back the next week. We'll have a different halves pairing every week as well.
Peter Hiku used to literally, like in social volleyball, used to sort of rotate round until it was your turn to serve. That was Peter Hiku when he played for the Warriors. That was pretty much happened to him. Start there, move away.
He started in the halves one game.
Yeah, and then carry on around the field.
Yeah, no, so that's given me a wide on that has not abated yet.
Shit, yeah.
So that'll be your attendance required then as well, I take it, this weekend. Although we're not covering the Warriors this weekend because we've got a little bit of a clash with a whole lot of Super Rugby games and cricket.
What?
I know. So not this weekend. So basically, Dai Henwood can stand down and get his voice back after calling that game in the weekend.
One thing I was going to say, if I could go rewind back a little bit, because we didn't have an agenda last week, right? So
no, we didn't.
I feel like the white-on needs to be that second test victory at the Basin. And so I know that there's a lot been said about it, but I just wanted to say the ACC commentary, G Lane, you were leading the team there, was exemplary. You did get your nips out.
I got my whole rack out, actually. I've had a lot of feedback about my rack, both good and bad.
No, I think I would call you aspirational dad bod. So it's like, as someone who's completely themselves, go look at G Lane and go, imagine if I could be like G Lane.
I could just get there.
That'd be cool.
Well, there's a lot of people saying they got them over the line.
It did, and do you know what? I was telling people we should watch this, and it looked like I was pretty much just, the boy who cried wolf. Like it was all going wrong, really. They looked like they were going to get there, and to see them pull out that victory, totally redeem themselves, also not make Michael Bracewell feel like such a plonker for a couple of things that he did in that game. I like that. The story, we needed that, we needed it more than them, and it was good to sort of stop talking about baseball, even though that became a big subject. If you search for baseball on Twitter, it's crazy how many people talk about baseball. And even though Brendan McCullum says...
try to shake it.
Even though he says he hates it, he loves it. Don't believe a word. He loves it. Yeah. He secretly loves it.
Of course he's smug as fuck sitting there. I would have to agree with you. White on was definitely that. But it's bittersweet for me because having watched that entire game, England had it completely under control on that fifth day, completely under control. And there was 3 shots from Stokes, Folkes, and Root that were just mindless. Like, I know it's Bazball and everyone, but they were mindless. And even it seemed like contradicting Bazball when Folkes wasn't running with Jack Leach. Like, for me, Bazball is fucking
go for
Jack Leach will have a go. Let him have a fucking go.
Yeah.
And Jack Leach is a fucking wall. I don't know if you've seen him bat. He faced 28 deliveries without a run. He didn't give a shit. He was a wall. But they were giving up 2s, they were giving up 1s. Like, they could have cruised home to that victory. I'm fucking glad we won, but I feel slightly tainted by the fact that they fucked it up completely.
I like the fact that they did, because I feel like the Bazball thing was getting a bit out of control in terms of the influence. I like the way England play cricket, because it creates results, and it's good that we got away with one. Totally agree with you, G Lane. That last day, even them sending us in to follow on as well, I sort of thought.
Even them declaring on their first innings. Like, fuck. You bat first and you declare, like...
Yeah,
you could
marginally ahead.
They could have got 600 on the board and bowled us out twice, but yeah. Anyway.
I don't think anyone other than you, G Lane, will remember that innings for those reasons. Everyone's only going to remember it for your baps and for the thrilling finish.
And Wags.
Wagner. Absolutely. But one of the most interesting things about that follow-on, the 3 of the 4 times before that they'd enforced the follow-on and then lost, it was Australia, which is so Australian to enforce the follow-on when you actually aren't in a position where you can win that match.
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant.
Yeah, it was great to see, and it's back again. That's my attendance required is today. Well, if it's Thursday, it's 11 o'clock. The Black Caps' first test versus Sri Lanka. They are here for a full tour, which will be 2 test matches, 3 2020s, and 3 one-dayers.
So when does it start?
11 a.m. On Spark Sport from Thursday through to Monday from Hagley Oval. I'm interested to see what kind of pitch they put together there, because, I feel like we've got a bowling attack that might struggle to get 20 wickets unless it's a green seamer.
I agree. I think the one thing that that test match exposed is that we've got a weird balance issue. I don't want to get too serious about sport on the agenda, because, people just...
not interested.
They're not interested. They don't give a shit. But... Ish the Dish, you got to have a proper spinner in there. I don't care who it is. Just pick one. If it's Ish the Dish, fine. If it's Will Somerville looking a lot like Hugh Jackman out of Wolverine, then fine. If it's Ajaz Patel, Jazz Hands, then let's do it. You pick your spinner like Jack Leach.
Yeah.
He was only there to be a wall and to spin, and he did his job. And poor old Braces, if you're saying we need our 7, 8, and 9 to score runs for us, then you've basically got no faith in your batters. So then you've got to look at your batters and say who shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So it's an imbalance thing for me.
I thought it was unfair that Michael Bracewell got given the premier spin duties, being a part-time spinner. It's like, dude, fuck.
You have to keep your real job. Part-time spinner.
Right. Let's get into...
Toppa Plays of the Week. Brought to you by Leader NZ's Lasagna Toppa.
Yeah, well, you're going to take these overnight, because I've got a funny suspicion that they're targeted to me.
Yeah, well, look, for listeners of the podcast, pull you behind the curtain here. G Lane wasn't here yesterday, so I was tasked with putting the notes together. And whenever presented with an opportunity to throw your boss under the bus, you should take that opportunity. And I have. The first Toppa play of the week, G Lane at the Basin Reserve getting down to some Darude.
So is this is someone in the crowd? Oh,
it's you in the crowd in a white bucket hat, just getting down to some Darude.
I love it how, I've got a funny feeling I know what the theme of the rest of these are, but whenever someone sees anything on social media with Darude in it, whether it's someone playing Darude with a stilo on the little metal thing in their shower, or a dog doing Darude on a window, it gets sent to me.
Or G Lane playing Darude on a violin. That is your second Toppa play of the week.
Yes.
From the very same weekend. At what seems to be an RSA of some sort. Is that your local?
It looks like it. Yeah, it is an RSA. But,
the Birkenhead RSA.
But I was a big fan of the guy in the front here dancing. He's got quick feet. Quick little feet, quick little dancing feet.
Also, a power move to be the only man on the dance floor while there's one person performing as well. Very aggressive. Didn't know you had so many talents. And the final play of the week was just this very morning, G Lane rolling into the office after all of that action over the weekend.
Yeah, once again, this...
I don't know where you found the donkey.
This video gets basically sent quite often to the ACC, and it is obviously quite an inebriated individual in a pair of Speedos and a steady the ship hat, combing out on a donkey, cruising past some seaside restaurants.
And if you're listening to this as a podcast, it won't make any sense, but if you're watching the video, you're welcome.
Absolutely. But yeah, that gets rolled out every year. It's quite funny, the Darude thing, 'cause, between you, me, and no one else who's listening, I really don't like Darude. And that is the reason why I get punished with it, is that Joe Jury has picked on that thread and pulled that thread for about the past 7 years.
You've shown weaknesses.
You can't say you don't like Darude. Darude is one song, and you can't say you don't like Sandstorm, because I've seen your eyes light up and you are into it, G Lane. And I don't know whether you're just trying to keep your work wife, Joe Jury, happy by sort of dancing along to Sandstorm, but it's the ACC theme song.
It is.
Pick another theme song.
It's the unofficial theme song.
It is.
You're right. It is, but so that gets blasted through ad nauseum.
Anyway, cricket teams, commentary teams. Who have you got on your commentary this weekend?
So
this week?
on day one is, I believe it is Jason Hoyt is going to be there. Myself, Paul Ford, Tony Lyle is making another appearance from the project. He's made a great debut last week.
He brought the great massage chair, which I think is I thought it was from the Te Aratū Peninsula Facebook group, but we'll put that photo up as well, which is an it looked like some serious atrocities have been committed on that chair.
And also,
they said, just chuck a sheet over it.
Just chuck a sheet over it, like it's a dead body as well. Also, we got, what did I say, Paul Ford. Lee Baker is making a return to the team. So Lee
Tremendous.
Baker.
Has he got a tan?
No, he's dangerous. He's translucent as Lee Baker. And Matt Heath, of course, will be there. She's a right old party this weekend.
So my challenge to you is at least one member of the commentary team needs to wear the white singlet, Sonny Bill styles. So you choose. Okay. One of you has to have be Sonny Billin out there.
Oh, geez. Who's that going to be, though?
Whoever's got the best pipes, I think. You're going to have to.
It's got to be Baker.
Have you seen our lineup, Manaia? I think Manaia is also commentating this weekend. So I think he's just walked straight into that one, that you with the best pipes, you're going to be in the Sonny Bill.
By best, I meant smaller. So Lee Baker, congratulations.
You might have to get a couple of those fake tattoo sleeves to put on, though.
We'll get someone to draw them on,
So I think you might have walked yourself into a Sonny Bill situation on the commentary. But that'll be on Spark Sport for all 5 days of that. And then straight into the other test next week. So there's no rest for the wicket. There's only about a 3 or 4 day rest before we get into the second test. But that's it from the agenda this week. Thanks for joining us.
You've been listening to the ACC's Agenda podcast. For more episodes, subscribe on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts.